I'm not a big fan of the pretty boys.
Look at me, everybody, how pretty I am.
I like the tough guy tight ends.
I'd hate to have to fight that son of a gun.
He played football tough. We had to watch him for 60 minutes because he'd take your head off.
This is as good a list as you're going to get. Number 9.
How is that possibly right?
Give me 8 in the box.
That has to be better than 7.
This would be great.
You're wrong.
5 yards, we win the game.
He's got the best number, 4 rings.
Is that number 2?
Has to be the number 1.
Laughable.
There is no question. Number 1.
Best ever.
Top 10 tight ends. All right. We're getting specific now.
I like tight ends that are complete.
Well, we're giving you the complete list of the top 10 tight ends.
It's a whole new breed of tight ends now. They're big, they're fast, they got good hands.
He doesn't block. He doesn't want to block.
Gates lining up as a wide receiver.
If you can catch the ball, you can't block. That's okay.
Tight ends should be asked to block more and block better.
This list really couldn't be better as we count down 10 of the greatest talents to ever play the position.
Toughness. Plain old toughness.
Let the debate begin as we bring you our top 10 tight ends.
Is Mickey Schuler on the list?
The number 10 tight end of all time, Antonio Gates.
Number 10. Pretty good number 10.
Antonio Gates is money.
Antonio Gates has been money in the bank since he entered the NFL in 2003.
He's a freak of nature. He's a great athlete.
Pushes off and makes the catch.
He's absolutely huge.
Is there anybody on this planet that could cover Antonio Gates?
Tremendous talent and athletic ability.
Touchdown, San Diego!
Amazing. An amazing athlete.
What a play by 85!
My goodness, how do you get that wide open?
You cannot cover Gates with a linebacker.
When you find one like that, they really do a lot for a football team.
You can replace LaDainian Tomlinson. You cannot replace a guy who requires 2 people to cover him at all times, and that is Antonio Gates.
That's what happens when you get so focused on LaDainian Tomlinson and you take your attention away from a guy like Antonio Gates.
What you see with the way teams try to defend Antonio Gates tells you everything you need to know about how they respect him.
Good catch, Dave. Good catch.
Coming out of college, football wasn't the sport Gates was known for.
Not bad for a guy that wasn't drafted, huh?
Basketball player at Kent State?
Oh, the big hoopster from Kent State, climbing hard for the rebound.
The thing I took from the basketball court was just my hand-eye coordination. And, like, catching the ball was just always natural.
Because of his basketball background, is he has that explosive first step.
Antonio Gates was the guy who changed it and made people start going out there and drafting guys from small schools who were good at basketball. Gates changed the way that we look at tight ends.
Antonio Gates was a game-changing talent, but is he worthy of being called the 10th best tight end of all time?
Wow, that's close. I'd have to go down and crunch some numbers.
Gates was a touchdown machine. He was a guy who was going to give you 800, 900 yards, maybe 1,000 yards.
And again, the tight end.
Gates, for a long time, was the best tight end in football, and there wasn't a question.
It's a big second quarter for Gates.
Antonio Gates definitely deserves to be in the top 10.
I think Antonio Gates should certainly be in the top 10.
Gates is in there yet again.
Unbelievable that a guy could not play college football and be a Hall of Fame tight end in the NFL. Blows my mind. Why not?
I don't know about his blocking ability.
Well, this guy, he can block some. He doesn't block. He doesn't want to block. He doesn't finish plays. He's out for himself at times. But boy, what a great athlete he is. He makes plays.
It's not that he was exceptionally fast. It's not that he had the greatest hands in the history of the position, but he could just get open. And that's what Phillip Rivers loved about him. That's what defenses hated about him.
And Gates has got it, breaks the tackle, touchdown!
If you can remember how dominant he was, you know, in the mid-2000s, the guy was unstoppable. You could not stop him in the red zone.
He's probably too low. I got to see the rest of the guys, but he's probably too low. I think he's a heck of a tight end.
No team has featured more great tight ends than the Raiders.
The Raiders had a line of good tight ends. They can make your offense roll.
Guys like Raymond Chester.
Comes back over the middle. He's got Chester.
Todd Christensen.
Christensen. Touchdown Raiders.
Todd Christensen and Raymond Chester each compiled over 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns. But the only tight end in silver and black to crack our top 10 was first an All-American tackle at Notre Dame.
The number 9 tight end of all time, Dave Casper.
I have no idea how Casper would get the nickname of Ghost.
A great effort by the Ghost, Dave Casper.
It's like a guy with big forearms getting the nickname of Popeye. I mean, who would think of that?
Into the end zone, Casper's there, touchdown Oakland.
In an era when tight ends were supposed to be an afterthought, suddenly Dave Casper was a weapon.
A clutch tight end, in particularly a game against Baltimore.
Ghost to the post. I just like saying ghost to the post.
Deep to Casper. Casper makes it over the shoulder catch.
The guy was remarkable.
A very remarkable adjustment as Casper managed to run under that high lob.
He was always there when Ken Stabler needed him most.
Our number 9 tight end spent most of his 11 seasons with the Raiders and Oilers, racking up over 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns.
An Adonis who defines what tight end play is all about.
Best tight end that ever played a game.
Throws to Casper, complete at the 40.
Think about it. You got a tight end, 250. His arms are like an extra foot long. His hands are huge. His mother must have been a gorilla.
Brilliant work of art by the master of his position.
Look at our Super Bowl. He ran over Paul Krause like a pickup over a rooster.
Could catch anything and didn't care about getting hit.
Casper makes the catch. He goes to the post.
David was a great blocker.
You know, he could block 2 or 3 guys at once.
You had a tight end who could block and be a tough, run blocker in the trenches.
I always got into the guy. I very seldom made a mistake. That's what I took most pride in. To me, if I had a great day receiving and a poor day blocking, it was bad.
Crazy Ghost.
Dave was told, don't sit on your helmet in practice, because you wouldn't eat with your helmet on at lunch or dinner. That evening, Dave came to dinner and proceeded to eat his dinner through his face mask with a helmet and spoon and fork.
If you're going to be a great football player, you're going to be a little weird.
Great and weird sum up Dave Casper and his most famous play.
The Holy Roller game against San Diego.
Action peaked with only 10 seconds to play.
Stabler back. Here comes the rush. He sidesteps. Can he throw?
The ball got fumbled, it got bobbled, it got kicked.
The ball flipped forward as loose. A wild scramble.
When play ended, Dave Casper had the winning touchdown.
You know, I was just there.
It is rolled a fumble. Casper has recovered in the end zone.
And if you look, it was just pure luck.
On the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play. Madden is on the field. They said, get your big butt out of here. He does.
And I played 11 years, and I had some success. And what do I remember before? Being a fumbling fool at the end of a holy roll, or whatever they want to call it.
This one will be relived forever.
The number 8 tight end of all time, Rob Gronkowski.
Number 8? 8 for Gronk? Wait, he said 8?
Number 8, that's low.
You cannot stop him. Double covered. Doesn't matter.
Gronk is already a top 3 tight end in NFL history just because of his production in the red zone.
Just not a fair fight.
No.
Just production-wise, over a short period of time, nobody else has even come close. This is a guy who's Ruthian in his production.
Jump beast mode.
If any team wants a tight end and they could fill out a form and order one, they're not ordering Mike Ditka. They're not ordering John Mackey. They're ordering a Rob Gronkowski. 32 teams out of 32 teams are ordering a Rob Gronkowski.
One of those every once in a generation tight ends.
Gronk is 8. Gronk is 8 because he is great.
The Terminator. You can only keep him down for so long.
He's a mismatch problem. Put a linebacker and run him out on him, can't cover him.
A linebacker on a 6'6" tight end. We'll take it.
Too big for the defensive backs. He's going to outmuscle you for the football. People don't realize how fast he is. Catches everything that's thrown at him. When do you see Gronk dropping a ball? Never. And he has fun.
He dominates the red zone and then the club that night.
What I hate about Gronkowski is he's very good. He is on the Pats, but when I look at him, I secretly want to be him, and I hate that about myself.
Look at that run by Gronk. Damn, I gotta stop. I'm being a groupie.
Just like the way he spikes the ball after a touchdown. Is that not the perfect thing for a guy named Gronk? It's even almost like onomatopoetic. Like when he slams it, it sounds like it would make the sound effect Gronk.
If you have a sold-out party cruise, you immediately bump up 3 spots in any top 10 list. His brothers have commercials.
Dan, what do you think you're doing?
I'm Dan Gronkowski, and I choose Visa Checkout. My story began...
Turn off the lights.
When your brothers get commercials because they're your brother, you've made it.
Our number 8 tight end is a true double threat.
Gronk does things that nobody has ever done on an NFL field, on top of being the most unguardable receiver in the NFL.
That was unbelievable. How the did you catch that?
He's a great blocker, too. I'm convinced that if Rob Gronkowski was just an offensive tackle, he would bring value to the Patriots. That's how good of a blocker he is.
He just finishes this block well after the touchdown signal was called.
Yes, he was just yapping to me the whole time, and that's why I took him and threw him out of the club.
Gronkowski is rewriting the tight end record books at a faster rate than we've ever seen.
So Rob Gronkowski, right now, after 6 seasons, has more touchdowns than any tight end in the Hall of Fame.
I don't even know how I did that.
So why is Gronk so low on our list?
The only way that you could put Gronk not as the number 1 or 2 tight end of all time is that he hasn't played his whole career yet.
But that explanation doesn't please everyone.
I think it is obscene that he is a number 8. He should be number 1, and the next closest guy should be number 3.
And you have a tight end and a weapon like Gronkowski, so big, one of those every once-in-a-generation tight ends.
Of all the shows we've ever done together, this is the most outrageous, egregious thing. Rob Gronkowski is already the greatest tight end of all time. He is already, I don't care if he never plays another game. He is the single greatest tight end I have ever seen, and he's the single greatest tight end to ever play the game. And you have him at number 8.
Since its inception in 1967, the NFC East has been known for its tight ends.
Wide open, Jay Novacek, touchdown. That could pretty much lock it up.
All right, well, if we're talking top 10 tight ends of all time, we gotta talk Mark Bavaro.
End zone, touchdown Bavaro.
He was a dominant player. He deserves, to my mind, to be in the top 3 of all-time tight ends.
I didn't cover the Giants, but I've heard enough from Bill Belichick about Mark Bavaro being the ultimate tight end that the fact that he's not in the top 10 would absolutely drive him bananas.
Damn it. Mark Bavaro, he's not on the top 10 list. You brought me in here to do this interview and you didn't put Bavaro on the top. This interview's over. This interview's over. Can't use any of this footage. I'm out of here. No Mark Bavaro?
The number 7 tight end of all time, Jason Witten.
Someone you might not want to talk nice about, but is on our list, Jason Witten.
Why, because I'm from Philadelphia?
Yeah.
You're going to think I don't like Jason Witten because I'm from Philadelphia? Unfortunately, he's too good. He is too good. Jason Witten's probably a guy that could play in both eras. He's athletic for this era, but he's big and strong for another era.
Banging through the traffic like a runaway truck.
Jason Witten is just the man.
And then Jason Witten went all Jason Witten.
I love Jason Witten. Receiver.
Touchdown, Jason Witten.
Blocker. Just such an underrated, quiet guy that no one talks about, but absolutely one of the best tight ends of all time. Hall of Famer in my book.
Jason Witten is definitely one of the top 10 tight ends of all time because this is a guy that the numbers are off the charts.
Witten, 1,000th reception of his brilliant NFL career.
Way to go, man. Way to go.
But the other thing that Jason Witten did was he blocked. I mean, the Cowboys had some good running teams.
Jason Witten gets a great seal block.
And Witten was involved in the blocking.
Witten's doing a tremendous blocking job tonight.
He can catch, he can block. A lot of people probably don't appreciate his completeness as a tight end.
Not everyone agreed with Jason Witten's ranking as the 7th best tight end of all time.
Jason Witten at number 7, all time. Jason Witten is the number 7 tight end all time?
Well, that's crazy.
There's got to be other tight ends that had bigger moments and bigger games than Jason Witten.
You don't think of Jason Witten as being a game breaker like Gronkowski or Dave Casper or Antonio Gates. To me, when you're talking about some of the guys you guys have ranked behind him, they were much more frightening to game plan for than Jason Witten.
While his selection wasn't unanimous, Witten's career was too impressive to leave off our list, ranking 2nd all-time among tight ends in both receiving yards and receptions.
He doesn't get a lot of the accolades as a Rob Gronkowski or a Jimmy Graham, but year in and year out, Witten's putting up good numbers. He's a Hall of Famer.
You think he's a great player, don't you? You don't even know how great this guy is.
Witten, that guy is a beast.
Jason Witten had a collision with Quint Michael. His helmet popped off, but he kept moving downfield.
Witten is one of those guys, since he's on the Cowboys, that the way I know he's good is that I've said the F word before his name countless times while watching a game. You know a player on your opposing team is good when you're like, Witten, man.
The number 6 tight end of all time, Ozzie Newsome.
Who's ahead of him?
He was outstanding. I don't know if there was a better tight end.
Certainly a Hall of Famer and one of the great tight ends who ever played the game.
Ozzie Newsome with a touchdown grab.
Since number 82, Ozzie Newsome graduated from Alabama, he has made catches like this.
Remember calling Bear Bryant the day of the draft? He said, that's the greatest receiver I've ever seen, and that includes Don Hudson and many others that I played with and against.
The Alabama wideout played 13 seasons in Cleveland and retired as the NFL's all-time leader in receptions and yards by a tight end.
Ozzie Newsome with a marvelous catch.
Ozzie was one of the first guys I ever saw at tight end who was primarily a pass catcher.
Hands. His trademark, the spectacular catch.
The way he ran, the way he got open, there really wasn't too much you couldn't do.
Newsome took it out of his arms. A spectacular touchdown.
That's why they call him the Wizard.
Touchdown, Newsome.
Ozzie Newsome, Oz, his remarkable catches. I think people just put that all together.
Newsome with a marvelous catch.
It was pretty magical being able to lock in on making a catch.
They all look the same. It's Ozzie Newsome stretched out like this.
Ozzie, touchdown Browns.
As a fan, you just stood there and going, holy mackerel.
Tremendous hands. I think tremendous heart.
To 15, to 10, to 5, he's in for a touchdown. And this place is going nuts.
He's a beloved guy now, but I think he was a beloved guy his entire time.
Look at Ozzie Newsome, soaked in mud, but he was not going to be denied.
Here's what I want you to think of from a slot. Get the ball to Ozzie on the flag.
Touchdown, Newsome.
Our number 6 tight end was not the wizard of blocking.
More of a receiving threat than he was a blocking threat.
He was a tight end who was much better as a receiver than a blocker.
Come on, you stay after him, Oz. You're going to have to block him.
Didn't want to. Didn't try to. I'm a receiver. Give me the ball.
The Wizards' credo is, this ball is mine.
God bless him.
Didn't block, but you know what? Deion Sanders hadn't tackled anybody yet either.
Despite 662 catches in Cleveland, Ozzie Newsome didn't win a Super Bowl until he was a general manager in Baltimore.
Back to throw, Trent Dilfer. Throwing deep down the middle for Stokely. He's got it. 10-5. Touchdown!
World champ. How about that, baby? How you doing? Hey, that's all right.
I'm biased a little bit by my affection for Ozzie, but if you don't have Ozzie Newsome in your top 10 list, it's not a valid list.
And now, the number 5 tight end of all time, Shannon Sharpe.
I've always admired Ozzie. I can't think of a better place to come because I can see the guy every single day, and he can see me every single day as I break his record.
Down the middle, there it is. Shannon Sharpe breaks the record.
Ozzie Newsome gives him a big hug. The new NFL career record holder for receptions by tight end.
I think Shannon Sharp may be a little too low on this list.
Wide open, Shannon Sharp.
He was the first tight end to play like a wide receiver.
Statistically,
Mercy, is anybody going to cover him?
Emotionally,
Right here tonight, baby.
a guy with, 3 Super Bowl rings?
Heavyweight champion of the world.
There's a short list of guys who were as good as Shannon Sharp at the tight end position.
When do y'all get a load of me?
Shannon Sharp played 14 seasons with the Broncos and Ravens and broke Newsome's all-time tight end records for receptions and yards.
Sharp, a 32-yard pickup.
While winning 3 Super Bowls.
This guy was a numbers beast, and he put up huge stats.
Comes to Sharp, touchdown.
He put up the numbers. He had the rings. That's legit.
And he scores.
You play one-on-one with a linebacker or safety, Shannon was going to win.
If you run zone defense, Shannon was so good at sitting it down.
For Shannon Sharp, what a huge day.
Well, I don't think he was a great, what you call a great blocker.
Todd Christensen told me, if you want to be famous and you want to make a lot of money, forget about blocking, catch passes.
That day and time, the H-back was coming into play in the National Football League.
Kind of like the extra tight end. He didn't have to be a great blocker, but he could be a receiver.
The word and term H-back was like hearing about a triple ground soy latte. Now, you know what a triple grand soy latte is, and you know what an H-back is. Shannon Sharp defined that position.
In terms of beast of a blocker and a beast of a catcher.
Sharp, touchdown!
He's definitely a beast in terms of his mouth.
Shannon Sharp was fun because he's always been good at talking.
He may be the number 5 tight end, but he's the number 1 trash talker of all time, in my opinion. That guy could run his mouth like nobody else.
B-R-O-N-C-O-S, Bronco. Ride, baby, ride. Boy, a little 95, a little short, ugly boy.
A quote machine.
If you leave now, you get a head start on track.
Everybody remembers where he picked up the red phone in Foxborough.
I'm calling the president. President, we need a National Guard. We need as many men as you can spare because we are killing the Patriots. Let the horses out the gate. We had them in the post all day, let the horses out.
If Shannon wasn't our teammate, I would hate him.
Hey, it's going to be one of them days.
Don't upset the man that I have to block or the guy that I have to run through. Don't piss him off.
You the weak link on the linebacker. We're going to take advantage of you.
But he can back it up.
Sharp walked the walk for the 2000 Ravens, making a big play in each playoff game.
All day, baby.
If we could get 1 touchdown up on you, you weren't going to win the game. And it was very typically Shannon Sharp that gave us that 7-point lead.
Throws out the flat to Jamal Lewis.
The ball gets tipped up in the air. Who catches it?
Caught by Shannon Sharp on a deflection. Sharp up the far sideline.
In the black hole. He has that one long run.
Go, Kenneth! Go, Shannon! Go, baby! Shannon Sharp! Touchdown!
In the Super Bowl game, our first touchdown.
Throwing deep down the middle for Stokely. He's got it!
You can see the respect that Shannon Sharp has. Not only did they jam at the line of scrimmage, but they had a safety over the top, and the backside safety left Brandon Stokely one-on-one by overreacting to Shannon Sharp's presence on the other side.
Yeah! And the Ravens are the champions of the world.
He's exactly where he should be because when you look at his peers during the time that he played, he certainly was in the top 1 or 2.
The number 4 tight end of all time, Mike Ditka.
He has artificial hips where he doesn't even need a cane. He's larger than life.
Mike Ditka, obviously we all know him as Duck Coach, and rightfully so.
See that? That's your IQ, buddy. 0.
But I think a lot of people forget that he was actually like a stud tight end in the league. If you watch old highlights of Ditka, it's awesome. He's just this like beast of a man. He was essentially Gronk before Gronk.
He looks like an axe murderer. Have you seen a picture of the man when he was a player? He has a crew cut.
Guy still wear a crew cut. That's how tough he was.
He won a Super Bowl as a coach, but even more accolades as a player.
Mike Ditka was a better player than he was a coach. History may remember Mike Ditka as being a Super Bowl winning coach, but one that really left a few titles on the table. He was consistently good as a tight end, and his numbers speak for themselves, and he's in the Hall of Fame as a tight end. Attitude, determination, and certainly physical talent. He never quit.
His 12-year career took him from the Bears to the Eagles to the Cowboys.
Ditka's last catch in football was a touchdown in the Super Bowl against me. When I got back to the sideline, Shula's just screaming at me, Ditka beat you.
When Iron Mike played, he was mean and nasty in a mean and nasty era. If they would come after his knees, he would go after their knees. If they hit him in the head, he hit them in the head.
Iron Mike. I don't know if there's anybody ever tougher than him.
Toughness, plain old toughness. Hard to bring down, bouncing off tacklers.
Mike Ditka's hard-nosed approach earned him the number 4 spot on our list.
Kick the other team's ass. Oh, that's what it was.
There is a personality that fits the Chicago Bears. Strength rather than finesse. Mike fits the bill perfectly.
I just think the Bears, going back to the days I played, they stood for something. It was a toughness.
Iron Mike was blue-collar, just like Chicago.
Take your lunch bucket to work, put in 8 hours, come home. They stood for what this city stands for, a toughness. I played the game for a long time. When it came time to play, nobody played any harder than I did.
It hits Mike Ditka for 8 yards. Ditka puts Chicago in scoring position.
And he was disciplined, he was hard-nosed, and you had to watch him for 60 minutes because he'd take your head off.
Intimidating. They were terrified of him.
I'm insane, they knew that.
And he was a phenomenal blocker.
Mike Ditka, if you watch film, when Gale Sayers is running with the ball, Ditka's still running downfield with him.
We enlist the aid of some movie magic to point out Mike Ditka's path-paving block. With the final obstacle obliterated, Sayers strides out to a touchdown.
He blocked like a madman. I like that in him because I knew that I can depend on Mike.
In the ultimate tight end, when you wanted a blocker and a catcher who would strike some fear in the defense, there's never been anybody like Mike Ditka.
He put up some numbers that no tight end had even approached to that point. In his first season, he had over 1,000 yards receiving, which was unheard of for a tight end at that time.
Billy Wade finds his great rookie Mike Ditka open. Iron Mike completes a 36-yard TD strike.
His rookie season is probably the greatest rookie tight end season in NFL history.
He was born to be a Bear. In fact, when you look at him real close, he looks like a bear. Look at the eyes. I don't think you'd want to look face-to-face with that guy out in the wilderness.
Those who watch Ditka play have a hard time believing we ranked him as only the 4th best.
Do you agree with that? Absolutely not. Ditka invented the position. I'd have Ditka 1.
Frankly, we were too scared to ask Ditka what he thought of the ranking.
You didn't want to mess with Mike Ditka back in there, and you still don't.
Who's going to stop 85 today, baby? Who's going to stop 85?
The modern tight end has seen his role expand.
That might have been the greatest catch I've ever made.
Going over the middle of the end zone, and it's caught! Short
On the list of 75 catch seasons by a tight end, more than half have happened since 2000.
Caught by Keller, touchdown! Olsen, got it, touchdown!
Wow! Kellen Winslow Jr. has 4 75 catch seasons, one more than dear old dad.
Touchdown, Tampa Bay! What a great snag by Winslow!
But Jr. doesn't crack our list while Papa comes in at number 3.
Kellen Winslow Sr.'s in the house. We got an issue today.
The number 3 tight end of all time, Kellen Winslow Sr.
Well, Kellen Winslow is the best tight end to ever play that position. Kellen Winslow is the best tight end ever.
The best ever? Not according to our list, but he's number 3 for redefining the position.
Kellen Winslow, the early prototype of what a tight end could be.
We had never seen anything like it. We had never seen a team where the tight end was getting 1,000 yards.
Kellen Winslow was the first guy to blend the lines between wide receiver and tight end, who really kind of changed the shape of position, was the tight end of the future back in the 1970s.
He was the first real athlete.
But 6'5", he's an inviting and talented target.
Teams start looking at big, fast tight ends that could be the number 1 receiver.
He may have been the Chargers' #1 receiver, but there's a reason why he's #3 on our countdown.
People say that he wasn't a blocker.
However, Winslow found other ways than blocking to prove his toughness.
Never forget the Miami game.
Running to the right side, throws downfield, caught by Winslow.
Winslow was just unbelievable. We couldn't stop him.
Out to Winslow down to the 1-yard line.
Nobody called Kellen Winslow soft. At least they didn't call him soft twice.
In the epic in Miami, Winslow caught 13 passes for over 160 yards.
In time over the middle, he's got his wingman, Winslow, touchdown.
The effort left him drained and dehydrated.
He was so tired that his teammates had to help him up.
But he still blocked the field goal to send the game to overtime.
Block on it.
That may have been one of the greatest single performances by a player in NFL history.
Melodramatic. Never once did anybody ever help me off the field. I got my butt off the field in my own power with a broken back, broken ankles, you name it. I've had it all. But you get off the field. Be a man.
He's definitely one of the best tight ends I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Yeah, I think you have to list him, in my opinion, at the very top.
Tight ends like the 49ers' Brett Jones played a big role in leading their teams to Super Bowls. Jay Novacek did the same for the Cowboys.
Going for the end zone. Novacek at the 2, takes it in. Touchdown, Cowboys. Pro bowler to pro bowler.
The Patriots' Ben Coates isn't shy about who he thinks should make the list.
Not being able to nominate yourself, who are some of the tight ends that you think are the best to play this game?
Why I can't nominate myself?
Coates led his team to a Super Bowl.
Bledsoe rolling right, fires, touchdown, Ben Coates.
The Lions' Charlie Sanders' dizzying array of aerial artistry never helped his team reach the big game.
Touchdown! What an over-the-shoulder catch! Over the top, touchdown!
Sanders is the only Hall of Fame tight end who failed to make our list.
The #2 tight end of all time, John Mackey.
John Mackey.
In my opinion, John Mackey's the greatest that ever lived.
They all try to emulate him.
If you're unlucky enough not to live in Baltimore, then these spectacular films will introduce you to excitement unlimited.
That may sound like hyperbole, but people get pretty hyped talking about our #2 tight end.
It's amazing. He is unbelievable.
First effort, second effort, third effort. He's taken his team, put it right on his shoulders.
This Hall of Famer is perhaps the most punishing runner after the catch of all time and helped change his position forever.
I think that John Mackey, he defined it, actually. He could catch the pass and take it all the way. 80 yards, 90 yards. He could do that.
Pretty fast for a guy that weighed about 230 pounds. Mackey could run like 4.5.
Mackey was, to me, the first guy who became a seam ripper. Mackey was really the first tight end who could rip a defense in half.
Few athletes have truly revolutionized their positions.
Brilliant, absolutely fantastic tight end.
Mackey, after he got his hands on the football, he was tough to bring down.
His greatness was his ability to run after the catch.
He ran like a fullback.
He had the ability to make guys bounce off of him.
He's universally acknowledged as one of the toughest players to tackle.
John Mackey was a monster.
He was a very talented guy. We couldn't get him on the ground.
Mackey was one of those guys, as soon as the ball found its way into his hands, he became bigger, faster, stronger, and harder to bring down.
He's just a horse out of control. Once he caught the ball, you couldn't tackle him.
I never, ever went into a game thinking that I'm a Mack truck and that I can mow them down.
I had the opportunity to coach John Mackey, and this guy was a force.
We work on our 2-minute offense, and you can see here that it's paid off.
I think it was against the Lions where he caught a short pass, and he ended up beating about 5 or 6 tacklers on his way into the end zone.
He's our #2 tight end, but his effort against Detroit is considered by many to be the #1 play of all time.
I really don't know why I broke those tackles, but when I saw those defenders coming, I made up in my mind that I was going to punish somebody. I was going to run right through them.
That included his own teammates as well as Lions players.
some of us missed him twice, yours truly. Finally, we've lived long enough that television doesn't feature it much anymore.
I could watch that over and over and over again.
If John Mackey played in today's football, we would be trying to say, who's going to be the next John Mackey?
The first great tight end, universal, that no one would dispute is John Mackey.
John Mackey was special. John Mackey was big and physical and could get down the field and was strong.
I think he might have set the standard for tight ends.
You can't teach that. You can't coach that. God preordains that, and John Mackey ran with that.
When they say John Mackey, you think of greatness. I have no problem with John Mackey being the second greatest tight end in history.
And now, the #1 tight end of all time, Tony Gonzalez.
If we're talking best tight ends of all time and you don't mention Tony Gonzalez, get out of the room. When you say tight end, people think Tony Gonzalez.
In his 17 seasons with the Chiefs and Falcons, Gonzalez became the all-time leader in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns by a tight end.
The best tight end in the NFL.
He has to be #1. Everybody gets mad if you say future first ballot Hall of Famer. That's the guy who's a first ballot Hall of Famer. When you look at the numbers, they can, like, his numbers compare favorably with great wideouts.
Why not look for number 88 every time?
That's a beautiful catch, baby. Good job.
Athletically terrific.
Phenomenal athlete.
Just an athletic freak.
Gonzalez's athleticism was honed not on the gridiron, but on the hardwood.
Tony Gonzalez was a really, really good college basketball player, and I think a lot of people forget that.
He can't guard Gonzalez inside. He was really the first basketball to football guy. Guys saw how basketball skills could translate to the tight end position. Tony Gonzalez was incredible.
Gonzalez catches it. Kirkland was in perfect position, but not for a California basketball player. Come over the back.
He was the modern basketball-playing tight end who was athletically better than everybody else and an impossible matchup in terms of X's and O's before anybody else.
Tony started out as a very poor blocker.
Kills everything when you can't block him.
He couldn't block his way out of a tissue box.
People have told me, coaches have told me about Tony Gonzalez is how much he has improved as a blocker over the years.
He wasn't a willing participant as a blocker. He was a blocker. He was a tight end through and through.
And I'll say this as a former offensive lineman about Tony. He blocked. Now, he wasn't a dominating inline blocker, but he was a very competent blocker. Tony Gonzalez was not afraid to hit you.
Tony Gonzalez at #1. Statistically, and what he's done is obviously amazing, but it's hard to put a guy at #1 without a ring on his finger.
Tony Gonzalez might not have the hardware, but he's got all the other tools to be our unquestioned #1 tight end of all time.
He really is the best tight end in the history of the game, and I think he's rated right where he should be.
I think if I was building my dream team and I had to pick any tight end in the history of the league, I think Tony Gonzalez would be my #1 guy.
Great going, buddy. Just great. Yeah. You're the best, and you will always be the best.
He's the greatest tight end to ever play the game. Every single year was giving you 70 or 80 catches. He was giving you right around 900 yards, 1,000 yards. He was giving you double-digit touchdowns.
Gonzalez touchdown. Oh, my goodness.
Gonzalez was the best ever at his position.
Gonzalez, he's the best tight end ever to play in this league.
Absolutely. You have to be an old fart who thinks everything in the NFL got worse after 1990 to say that Tony Gonzalez is not the best tight end of all time.
The future Hall of Fame tight end.
He is so much farther ahead of other tight ends in his career numbers, and he's so transcendent receiving-wise, and for such a ridiculously long period of time. He is the best ever, period.